How's everyone? Today we're going to continue our what are we even working on? How's everyone? Today we're going to continue our work on each sold separately with the grounding of our canvas, setting up of our panels, and transfer of our toys. I'm going to use acrylic for this. Remember acrylic? Haven't used it all year. I recommend this so that it'll dry faster. Just mix up a color that you want to work with as a ground. I'm going to look for something that's more of a burnt out green. I got a scrap of canvas here. I'm going to use this to apply my paint. If you have an old shirt or a towel handy, you could use that. I've got some newsprint underneath the canvas panel, just so that I don't end up making a huge mess. I'm just going to apply this over the canvas. This is actually taking more paint than I expected it to. What else is new? I can change this a little bit with just kind of dusting on some darks here and there, or some highlights. Just to liven it up, give it a little bit more variety. Next, I'm going to measure out 1/4 of an inch on the sides and use a tick mark here to map that out. Bring that in a little bit. The top and bottom. Actually, I'm going to use a centimeter here, or millimeter. No, centimeter. I'm going to use a centimeter here. We're going to do full centimeter gutters. So do your tick marks at the bottom. Do your tick marks at the bottom and at the top. And connect your lines, of course. Same thing on the sides here. So now we have a centimeter gutter going all the way around. At this point, it's going to vary from person to person depending on your panel layout, but everyone would have a centimeter going all the way around. You want to keep your interior gutters also as a centimeter. Just measure out the size of your panels now and position them so they have a centimeter in between for the gutter. So after you've penciled out your panels here and your grid, what you're going to do is mask off the entire interior and just do the outside gutter first. If you just do individual panels, you run the risk of them not being in alignment, and you really want that outer gutter to present everything in a consistent grid. So this is actually the second time I've done this, because I started doing it as one panel at a time and then realized this tape is too short. And then I realized that the panels are going to stagger and not be locked in. So take two. You want to take care in the taping, because you have to make sure that your corners are nice and crisp. So you're going to have to kind of tear away and reuse some of the tape to make sure that you have a crisp right angle corner, because if there are any imperfections in the taping, they're going to be evident when you go to paint your gutters. So you can see how it's kind of beveled in like a picture frame. I'm actually going to do this as if I was stretching a canvas and work across. So I'm going to do the top first and then the bottom. Alright, so you can see that I've taped off my corners. This one has several layers of tape. It's a little rounded there, but you want to try to get yours to be straight like that one. So again, you're just masking off the exterior, making sure that those outer corners are in good shape. Don't worry so much about the interior. Now what we're going to do is apply white to the exterior. I'm going to use a palette knife for this because I'm pressed on time and palette knives are easier to clean up than brushes. You're welcome to use a brush. You're just going to use pure white straight out of the bottle or tube. I mean, you know what white looks like. I'm just trying to fit it in the camera here. I'm just going to take the pure white and coat the exterior. And actually, if I end up picking up a little bit of the green on the bottom, it's going to add to some of my energy. So I'm not going to try to get full coverage all the way around. But I like that I'm picking up some of the green, and then in other points, because of the palette knife, I'm getting more full coverage. Okay, once that is done, you can remove the tape, which is usually the most rewarding part. Yeah, not painting. Painting isn't the most rewarding part. It's being finished and taking the tape off. Nah, I don't know. Hopefully painting and creating is rewarding, but it's very satisfying to see that crisp edge. I'd recommend peeling away from the center. The canvas isn't going to tear, but if you were going to do this on illustration board, I've seen a few heartbreak scenarios where people have gone to take their tape off when they're finished, peeled towards the exterior, and torn their painting in half. That happened, I think, my second year because I didn't forewarn people because I didn't really know that that could happen. So ever since then, I really try to emphasize tearing away from the middle to avoid that kind of heartbreak. Look at that. So I'm just going to kind of quickly, so you can post it, bring this around the exterior. Now you have to tape off your next gutter, and I recommend working in terms of which gutters are going to meet the white. So I've got a line here and I've got a line here. Rather than start with this one where I'd be guessing where the end point is, I'm going to tape off this long one, which will begin in a gutter and end in a gutter. It'll make it cleaner. Once that's dry, take the tape off. Now when you paint this one, I would start at the white and move away from that. That way you're going to protect this line edge. You could also tape that off if you didn't really trust yourself. But I'm going to start on this edge and pull away from there so that I know that that's protected. And take the tape off. Alright, so we've got our grid done. Acrylic is dry. It's time to transfer. I've got 3 different drawings here. Yours might all be on the same sheet.
I know they're photographs. You know I know how to draw. It's a time thing.
And the way you transfer is going to vary depending on the color of your ground. If you have a light color, you can use graphite. If you have a darker color, as I do, I'd recommend that you use white Conti, which I believe I sent everybody away with. And with the white Conti, you're just going to coat the backside just as you would if you were transferring with a dark color. Once you have that positioned in place, I've secured it with 3 pieces of tape, you're going to begin the transfer process, which at this point you are familiar with. Hopefully you've set your drawing up with a little bit of indication of light and dark, because again, we're going for hyperrealism on this one. So the more information you provide yourself with in your line drawing, the better prepared you will be for the painting process. All right, there's one. Do that twice more, and I'll see you in the next demo when it's time to paint. What? I couldn't have done this if I tried. Look at that. It's in perfect alignment. Wow. This is... wow.
If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me via email. And in the meantime, please continue to practice social distancing, wash your hands, and wear a mask.